Hey there, how's it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, and today I have a question that was sent in through the Total Fitness Bodybuilding app. And the question is, Hi Lee, I have a question about protein shakes. I would like to have a recipe for a high protein natural shake without using protein powder, specifically whey protein. Well, that's a good question, and in this video I'm going to cover 10 high protein alternatives that you can use for making homemade protein shakes and blender smoothies. But before I get into that, I'd like to just discuss the topic of protein powder in general. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to protein powders. A lot of people think that protein powder is too expensive. You know, they're thinking the big 5-pound container of protein powder versus like a steak or a chicken breast or something like that. And when you actually work it out on a gram for gram basis, protein powder is more often than not cheaper than high protein foods. High protein foods like meat, poultry, fish, things like that. I mean, a container of protein powder, like a 5-pounder, has about 60 to 70 servings of protein. Whereas if you're buying a chicken breast or a steak, well, that's a single serving, maybe 2 servings if it's a really big one. So when you compare it on a per serving or a gram for gram basis, I should say, protein powder usually works out cheaper. Now, of course, there's going to be exceptions. I mean, if you own your own farm or you raise your own animals, you're a hunter, a fisherman, or have some source of high protein food besides going to the store and actually buying it, then obviously that will work out cheaper than protein supplements. Another scenario is if you live in a country where protein supplements are not readily available and they probably have to import them, then chances are you'll probably get local high protein food cheaper than the supplements. But for the majority of people, protein powder is going to work out cheaper than high protein food on a gram for gram basis. And the reason I wanted to mention that is because the high protein alternatives that I'm going to share with you in this video are actually more expensive than protein powder. So if you're looking to save money, then these alternatives aren't it. I mean, more often than not, you'll still come out ahead money-wise by buying protein powder, but if you're looking for some variety in your shakes, maybe you're just tired of using protein powder and again, you just want to change things up, then these are some high protein alternatives that you can use.
And the first one on my list is milk. And a lot of people will actually make their protein shakes using milk to help bump up the protein content. Milk has 8 grams of protein per cup, so if you're making a blender smoothie, you can use this as the base of your smoothie to help bump up the protein intake. Another alternative is soy milk, and this has the same protein content as cow's milk. Again, it's 8 grams of protein per cup, so you could also use this as the foundation for a protein shake or a blender smoothie. Now, there are other types of milk out there like almond milk, coconut milk, rice milk, and these are not very high sources of protein. So if you're looking for high protein alternatives, I'd recommend avoiding those other types of milk and sticking with cow's milk or soy milk instead. And seeing we're on the topic of milk, a more concentrated source of milk protein is powdered milk. And I guess you could consider this the original protein powder. I mean, per 100 grams of powdered milk, you get 35 grams of protein. So again, it is very concentrated, and you can add this in with a protein shake or a blender smoothie to bump up the protein content. And the next high protein alternative is Greek yogurt. And all yogurts are high in protein, but Greek yogurt is particularly high because it is a thicker consistency. So on a gram for gram basis, you're going to get a lot more protein compared to regular yogurt. You can also get Icelandic yogurt, which is a very similar consistency to Greek yogurt. But again, this would make for a great high protein base for a blender smoothie. Another high protein alternative is cottage cheese. And this has the same protein content on a gram for gram basis as Greek yogurt. Again, it's very dense and thick, so it would make for a good base in a blender smoothie, or you could just eat it on its own. I mean, you don't have to mix this into a blender smoothie to get the protein benefits. I mean, eating cottage cheese or yogurt just as it is a very quick and convenient source of protein. And another concentrated source of protein is egg whites, specifically pasteurized liquid egg whites. And I want to kind of clarify this because when it comes to eggs, you should either eat them cooked or have pasteurized egg whites. I wouldn't recommend eating raw eggs. Like the whole Rocky routine of a dozen raw eggs in a glass and drinking it down, It looks cool in the movies, but from a safety point of view, it's not practical. And I mean, obviously, the risk of bacteria and salmonella is there. But in addition to that, the body doesn't digest raw egg as efficiently as it digests cooked egg or pasteurized egg. So when it comes to liquid egg whites, you can get cartons of pasteurized liquid egg whites, and this would make for a great base for a protein shake or a smoothie. Now, this next one may come as a bit of a surprise because most people consider oats as a source of carbohydrates. They don't think of it as protein. But when you look at the nutritional information, for 100 grams of dry oats, you're getting 16 grams of protein, which is significant. So you can add in some oats with a blender smoothie, with a protein shake, or even just eating oatmeal as it is and get some extra protein in your diet. And another food that's a good source of protein is whole wheat bread. Now, most people look at bread as a source of carbohydrates, not a source of protein. But again, once you look at the nutritional information, you'll see that it is a significant source of protein. Now, I'm not saying that it's the best source of protein, but if you're looking for some alternatives and ways to add extra protein to your diet, then whole wheat bread is certainly one to consider. Now, I mean, if you wanted to, you could literally blend up a slice of bread into a blender smoothie, or you could just eat it as it is. But either way, it's a way to get some extra protein in your diet. And the next one on the list is peanut butter. And this is a great source of plant-based protein. I mean, for 100 grams of peanut butter, 25 of those grams is pure protein. So, I mean, that is quite high, but it's also high in fat. So you'll want to use this in moderation. Unless, of course, your goal is bulking up and adding a lot of extra calories to your diet. I mean, that would be a great way to use peanut butter as a part of a high-calorie bulk-up program. But if you're trying to keep those calories in check, then you'll want to use peanut butter in moderation. A lot of people like to add a spoonful of peanut butter to a blender smoothie to help add a creamy consistency and to make it more satisfying. But again, just realize that in addition to the protein, you're also getting a lot of fat. And the last protein alternative that I have on the list is hemp hearts. And this packs a big nutritional punch. I mean, in addition to being a great source of protein, it's also a good source of healthy fat, especially omega-3 fatty acids. So if you're looking for a nice high protein alternative, then you can add this one to a blender smoothie, you can add it to your oatmeal, you can even sprinkle it on salads. There's a lot of ways that you can implement hemp hearts into your diet, but they are very nutritionally dense and again, a great source of protein. Per 100 grams of hemp hearts, you're getting 33 grams of high-quality protein. Now, as far as an actual recipe, I'm going to make a high-protein blender smoothie without using any protein powder. So what I have right here, I have some pasteurized liquid egg whites, some Greek yogurt, that's going to be my high-protein base. Then I'm going to blend up some frozen mangoes, a banana, and some natural peanut butter. So I'm going to add in 1 cup of liquid egg white. And this, again, is a pasteurized liquid egg white. And that is 25 grams of protein. Got some Greek yogurt. I'm going to add in about a half a cup of Greek yogurt. One banana. And this is some frozen mango chunks. I'm going to add in a couple handfuls of this, along with a spoonful of natural peanut butter. Now I'm just going to blend it all up. And there you go. That is a high-protein blender smoothie without using any protein powder whatsoever. And this particular blender smoothie contains 585 calories, 45 grams of protein, 65 grams of carbs, and 16 grams of fat. Now before you go, if you'd like to get some help with setting up a proper bodybuilding nutrition program, then I have a free guide that you can download called Bodybuilding Nutrition Made Simple. I'll have a link to it right in the video description below, or you can head on over to my website at leehayward.com and download a copy for yourself there.